We are back. This time, Brian has magically transformed into the one and only Alex Davey.
Brought some jazz hands to the table just for you. Hello,
So,
Twitch audience.
round 4,
Yes.
Coruscant Invitational.
So many ships.
What do we get? Yeah, this is going to be a little bit different. So we've got it's a Christopher Appel and Blair Bunke.
Mm-hmm.
How about you tell me about Blair's list, because it's a doozy.
It is. It's really interesting. Both players are utilizing some of the power that they've gained from these free upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
This list features Leia, and it's probably the of all the lists I've seen so far, this one's leveraging her ability the most.
Sure.
Because it's a blue
Through sheer bodies.
sheer quantity. It's a blue squadron scout with that free Leia Organa upgrade. And then it's 6 Talus Squadron pilots with Crackshot. That's it. That's the list. It sounds like we are experiencing a couple of technical difficulties.
Difficulties.
An audio delay on the feed, so we're just going to stand by while we try to get that sorted out.
We'll be back short. We are back. We can't see ourselves, though.
All right. Well, we're back. We're talking about the swarmy list.
So 6 Talas, Crackshot.
6 Talas and a U-Wing. It's a lot of health to chew through. It's a lot of dice to throw.
Now, if anybody's going to do that, it's going to be 4 Planetary Sentinels and Whisper with Ruthless and Admiral Sloan.
Right. Every time one of those Sentinels goes down, it's going to throw out a couple of stress thanks to Sloan.
Indeed, and
However,
Ruthless.
with this many Talas out there, I am, not sure that stress is going to be as big a factor as it might otherwise have been, especially with Leia on the board. So it should be a pretty interesting matchup in that respect.
Yeah,
but those
a lot of
Planetary
ships.
Sentinels, extremely maneuverable, much nastier attack. And unlike this list full of Talas, they've got an endgame ace with Whisper.
Yes.
If these Talas can't get enough guns to bear on Whisper, sure, they might take
She's
out all
gonna
those
run
Sentinels,
circles around them.
but at the end of the day, you do not want to be staring that down in
Absolutely
the
not.
late game by any means. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup here.
And that U-Wing, does it have... Doesn't say the pivot wing, but
Presumably
I'm
it has the
assuming
pivot
it's got the
wings
pivot
on
wing.
there. Yeah, they're free. You might as well take them. They're a very good value, especially with Leia on there. Leia can do some really interesting things with a stress-free, stationary 90-degree or 180-degree pivot. That's no joke. It's a fun little trick.
So we got the deployment here with the Sentinels starting off. It looks like
it's a big
kind of split here.
Yeah, big open space in the middle there, which is interesting. That'll mean some clear lanes of maneuvering for those adaptive ailerons and also for the Talas.
So you think, what do you think for strategy? I mean, there's no Hell Runner here, so there's really no reason that you need to be grouped up, even with Ruthless. So is there an advantage to packing him in? Do you want to kind of split it, spread your firing arcs to try and catch Whisper?
Well, I think that the interesting thing about this corner deployment is that you have so much flexibility with the speed of those strikers that he can change his mind very quickly.
Sure.
He does not have to stay in that corner. He might be trying to do some sort of pincer maneuver. He has a nice open space in the middle there to maneuver, so he doesn't have to worry about asteroids clogging up his ailerons moves. And interestingly, unusually for a list with with this many ships in it, it's all 2 initiative versus the planetary scouts, which are initiative 1.
Sure.
So that's actually really interesting. The Talas are going to fire first, so there's that danger of losing some of your planetary sentinels before they even get a shot.
No
off.
shield, so crits could go through and cause them some trouble.
Factor. But on the plus side for those sentinels, they don't have to worry about their maneuvers being blocked.
Yes.
They can plot both their aileron moves and their normal moves, and they can act as blockers themselves. But with that many dice and that many crack shots flying around the board, this is going to be a really interesting match. So it's going to be interesting to see if these Z95 stay grouped up. There's a big kind of open jousting area in the center here. So I think it's really going to be on the Imperial player to make this engagement a little more interesting, because the rebels will be very, very happy to just point those guns forward.
Well, that's what we saw the last game. You were not here, but it was Wedge, Dutch, Garvin, all with proton torpedoes against those Fangs, and they really wanted that fight to start at range 3.
Oh yeah,
it didn't. Spoiler alert!
I heard.
It did not go well because the fight happened at range 1.
And that's where Fangs want to be.
That's exactly where they want to be.
That list really appealed to me because There's nothing like just taking a Fang Fighter and Fearless and nothing else.
Yep.
That's the scum way to fly. That's the carrying the torch for that whole faction. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, with all the blocking potential of the strikers, that's a lot of Talas to potentially lose actions because it just gets into a traffic jam.
Potentially, but it's so dangerous to do that because they can just easily take a ship off the
Yes.
board. So you have to. It's really going to be a very interesting cost-benefit analysis here, and I think he's doing the smart thing. He clearly wants to keep Whisper out of the fight, or at least out of those enemy firing arcs as long as they can. So I think this game is really going to come down to whether the Rebel player can leverage the power of those numbers
Sure.
and start to do work before he loses too many ships. Because while he's got 7 ships on the board, there's very little that the Imperial player can do to not get shot at all.
Mm-hmm.
But once those Z95s start popping, and they will,
Yes.
then you start getting the ability to do some outmaneuvering.
Yeah, it's
Whisper
5
comes
3-dice
in strong.
attacks
Mhm.
potentially coming in from the strikers and Whisper.
Now,
So
I
a lot
I
of
suspect,
toys.
I suspect that this striker list is actually kind of built to deal with aces, because Sloan really shines when you can
Get those
put that
ships
stress on
popped
something
off.
very powerful. But that being said, anytime you can jam a ship up a little bit, it's a benefit.
Yes.
Particularly if it's the U-wing that makes the final shot or something like that. So I do think that this list is more teched against aces, but it also has a lot of ships and a lot of attack dice. So it's a pretty solid list even against a swarm like this. It should be a
Let's
close
talk
match.
Whisper real quick because different ability. Phantom's fundamentally different from how they were in first edition.
Definitely.
Maybe more so than some of these other ships that we've already seen or just haven't changed as much. So no more advanced cloaking device, which was basically staple to Whisper cards around the world.
Yep.
Now they've all got that Stygium array, which is, I believe, if you just have a evade at the end of the round, you can spend it to cloak again.
Yep, that's correct.
So if you uncloak and take the shot, you are now exposed that whole round.
Yep, so it really puts the burden on maneuvering.
Yep.
You can't rely on a high initiative to get that advantage. You have to decloak in the system phase.
Yes.
But you still are at a high initiative, and you can use your normal maneuver plus barrel roll to get out of the line of fire. And the beautiful thing about the new Stygium array, in my opinion, is if you are decloaking properly, if you're lining things up properly, you'll be out of arcs.
Yes,
And
that's
so
the
you
goal,
can-
obviously.
Yeah, so you can use that evade token that Stygium array generates to recloak. And you can kind of get into this rhythm of decloak, recloak.
And Whisper
However,
even has the ability when she hits, gets an evade. So
She
even
can
if you
play
have
it
to
a
spend
little-
it on defense, you have some options.
Exactly. She can be a little more risky. Like in this game, if there's a turn where she decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to risk a shot from a couple Z95s because it's going to put me exactly where I need to be.
Sure.
She'll have those 2 evade tokens
Yes.
to kind of take some of the pain out of that. And if you just make a mistake, if you end up decloaking,
Never happens.
decloaking wrong. Well, maybe not for you, but for us mere mortals playing X-wing, every once in a while you'll just find yourself in a bad
Phantom
situation.
used to be 2 hull and 2 shields.
Yep. So it
now
got a hull.
got an extra hull.
It's a little more durable. It's a little less of a super ship and more.
Obviously.
You'd never see 4 Sentinels and a Phantom in a list in first edition because that Phantom would be eating up sometimes half or more of your list just on its own. And I think this is a more interesting way to play because you have more moving pieces, you have more things going on, and the Phantom can still contribute. But without 4 attack dice, it doesn't have to be the only thing going on
Yes,
in your
it's
in your
not
list.
just always the hammer and all the only other thing you have is your anvil.
Exactly. And Ruthless is going to be really interesting. Like they can certainly. I wonder if it'll even be used. As a required upgrade. It's on there. I imagine that he may save that ability for when he really needs to finish off a ship.
Sure.
Or something like that. I think he's going to use it sparingly. Or, potentially when...
He doesn't really have the health pool to just be throwing it around. So.
No, they don't. There's a lot of them, but they've only got 4 hull points apiece. So you don't... It's not a swarm list in the same way that a Ruthless TIE swarm would be, where you're perfectly happy to peel some health off just to get that damage through. These have free attack dice. You don't want to take them off the board if you absolutely can help it. So I think we'll see Ruthless used quite sparingly.
Sure.
But I could be wrong. He may go full throttle with that and try to get some of that stress out.
So starting off now, clock is running, and those strikers jumping out. Looks like they're going to be spreading out at least in a pair here.
I like this though. There's nothing to say that you should or even could run these strikers together, this is going to force him to either send his ships forward and allow a flanking maneuver, or to kind of split his forces.
Sure. Either has to get flanked by one of the packs or be split 3 and 3.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the thing that, one of the strengths of a 7-ship list is that you have that density of firing arcs, firing solutions. You can punch through defensive tokens more easily. If he's able to split these Zs up, make them, peel out around these asteroids, do a little bit more work. They're also slower by a lot than these strikers.
Yes.
So
especially with the extra move.
Yep, exactly. He's not going to want these Zs K-turning around behind him. He's going to want to do a boom and zoom strategy where he can just pick off Z95s piecemeal until that list is a little more manageable.
So interesting. Kind of spreading out, but all trending down towards the bottom of the map here.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the Rebel player does. The striker on the top of our screen here, that is the one that is in the most vulnerable position.
Yeah, absolutely.
So depending on what the Rebel player did, he may be able to put a little damage in, but it looks like he's kind of slow rolling and just testing the waters here. So that striker will probably be safe, at least this round, and probably next round as well, with the aileron's ability to just get it out of danger so quickly. This is kind of fun to see. We're seeing a different kind of swarm combat than you would have seen in first edition.
Oh yeah, this is not a game you would have seen in any first edition tournament in memory, but that's the beauty of second edition, that this is something that people feel like they can bring to a major event like Coruscant here, and not just be, blown off the table.
No, far from it. And that, Leia Organa is really going to give this list a lot of power that it wouldn't otherwise have had for those K turns. Although, like I said, I think the Imperial player recognizes that, and he's going to try to make white K turns not as much of an advantage as it might otherwise have been. I think that's very clear in his opening strategy here.
Leia's interesting because, and I said this in the last game, but she increases the kind of processing floor, like mental processing floor your opponent has to do, because a bunch of things that they just can completely discount without Leia there, all of a sudden they have to think, well, probably won't, but what if they do?
Right.
And that can be really powerful and just tiring for your opponent to play against when he's already got to be managing 5 ships, all of which are moving twice most turns.
Yep.
That gets complicated in and of itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of mental real estate being used here to manage all of these different maneuvers, try to deal with this many ships on the board. I think this is the most ships in a tournament game that I have seen in, I can't even remember how long.
In quite a while.
Yeah, 11 ships on the board. That's a
lot.
In fact, it's probably since the days of TIE Swarm dominance. It's been that long since I've seen this kind of a game. It's very cool. It's going to be really interesting to see how these strikers work.
Yeah, so
I'll bet he's wishing he brought a bomb or two against this particular match.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. We did see the very first game of the day, proton bomb right in the middle of 6 ties, which was not enough to win the day, but definitely got things off to an interesting start.
But the TIE Swarm pulled it off nonetheless?
They did, yes.
Yeah, that's a nasty
partially due
nasty
to
list.
A navigational error, we'll call it, with the Millennium Falcon.
Ah, yes. It decided it had better things to do. It had some goods to deliver elsewhere in the galaxy. Understandable.
Han got a comlink call from Kira and was like...
dumped that cargo and boogied.
See ya.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Han, he's not the most reliable, is he?
So now you've got a Cloaked Phantom. You've got that extra move there. You've got a lot of mobility for the Imperial list here.
I like the way the Imperial player has utilized these obstacles. He's given himself a ton of room to maneuver and pull this flank off. I really like this setup for him. Rebels just playing it safe for now, trying to keep grouped up. But I think the smart thing about this play, this kind of flanking play, is the U-Wing and the Z95s on the top of the map, on the top of our screen here, they're not the fastest of ships.
No, and they're going to be further away when this fight starts to develop in the center.
Exactly. And Leia really rewards you when your entire list can gain some benefit from her ability. Whereas if you are K-turning more piecemeal, if your list is being kind of pulled apart and pulled into different directions, you don't get quite as much leverage out of her.
And also, I mean, while, there's a lot of bodies to use Leia, the Z95 doesn't have any what I would call like tricky red maneuvers. It's just
no,
a K-turn.
No
like,
Talon rolls,
you can K-turn.
no Segnor's loops.
You can't, not even like a hard red
no hard
turn or
red
anything.
turn
It's
or
just
like that. Yep.
their dial's pretty vanilla, and it's not going to be as completely tricky.
Right, unless you want a K-turn, you don't want to use Leia's ability. It's not.
Yeah.
He does have the U-wing in there.
Sure.
And the U-wing has a very flexible stop maneuver, especially if it's white. But again, I think the Imperial player is doing a really smart thing because the U-wing in the middle of the fight is where it wants to be. You know, I think if I was the Rebel player, I would want the U-wing down in the middle of the map.
Above the bottom pack there.
Yeah, because in order to kind of block lanes and clog things up and sort of utilize some of its advantages, it's got to be in the mix, and it's going to be a few turns before it gets there. Now, that being said, Leia will be a factor in the game for longer, the longer the U-wing stays in the fight.
Yes.
But I think in this particular situation, you know, coming through the asteroids, utilizing that stop maneuver to try to make the Sentinels, you know,
misplay a little bit.
Misplay or just, you know, clog lanes.
Yep.
Because they really thrive in big open areas.
The other thing we'll see here, or people are asking, you know, is Leia, you know, good in this in second edition? Well, I think she's definitely better because one, she's not single use.
Yep.
But two, remember, Coruscant Invitational has some slightly different rules in that every Rebel list has to have Leia, every Scum list has to have Boba Fett, and every Imperial list has to have Ruthless. Those upgrades are free.
They cost no
you gotta bring a
squad points.
seat. They need a seat to ride in, but it's a special rule. It was voted on by the community in terms of which cards are going to be required. Just something to mix up your squad building. You know, and that's contributed to the number of HWKs we've seen.
Yep.
Contributed to some, you know, the certain choices of ships because they have to have that seat for Boba or Leia, at least if you're playing Rebels or Scum. So.
And I think what we're seeing is we're seeing that Leia has value, and I think that people are surprised by how useful she can be.
Yes.
But the question of is she worth 8 full squad points at this juncture?
In a vacuum?
Possibly not. You know, but here at 0, she's certainly useful. And that's the beauty of the squad building app. We can kind of toy with her points costs until she becomes an attractive option.
Exactly. So planning, definitely not a quick process with this many ships on the board.
No. Although
it's only going to get slower as those ships start to come into contact and it becomes a little bit less straightforward. What do you think? The Rebels are just going to continue boring on in?
You know, I don't know. I think there's going to be a bit of a turn. I think some of those lower Zs are going to bank. I think the ships up in the top part of our screen here are going to pour on the gas a little bit. The really interesting thing, I'm wondering, is this Imperial player going to turn into engage, or are they going to keep, you know, hard
extend away
on this? Yeah, because they could. They're facing, you know, a gap here. They could just pour on the gas.
Yep.
And delay the engagement even longer to try to get a more favorable position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think
I might like to see the bottom guys bank 1 or 2 and the top guys bank 2 or 3 to kind of keep the united front.
For the Rebels?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good play here. Because you're kind of just wheeling this big brick. You know, you're wheeling this formation full of dice and crack shots. And
it's a lot of bullseye arcs to have to dodge.
Many ships. Yeah.
Now the big change with the crack shot, though, it's now relatively unlikely that you get to use crack shot multiple times on the same ship. You know, more than maybe 2.
Right. You're not going to just
crack
deadly.
shot, dead ship.
I think it's a healthier game state. I think it's a much more interesting upgrade because it really does require good maneuvering, both to get it off and to get away from it. I mean, that's going to be the really interesting thing about these strikers. Can they avoid that bullseye arc?
Yeah.
They're only initiative 1, but they're incredibly flexible with those ailerons.
And the bullseye arc is not that big, and the other thing is the Z95.
They have a red barrel roll, but they don't have a lot of repositional options.
Yeah.
No. But, you know, red barrel roll into crack shot's not so bad.
Yep.
You know, especially when you have Leia who's able to, you know, provide you with the ability to still do something like a K-turn afterwards. Stress is not as big a deal in your list when you have
your Blue Squadron
Leia
Scout
Organa.
can also red coordinate, so they
That's
could
true.
possibly move first, coordinate an action, then be able to do the crack shot. That's a lot of stress and kind of combo pieces to maybe just get a focused crack shot. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it's a situational thing, I think. Do
Certainly.
you know, are you able to barrel roll in against Whisper, who's hurt, and finish her off? Yeah, I think you do that.
Yes.
But do you do that every round? No, definitely not.
Yep. Just double checking everything.
What do you think? Do you think we're going to get some dice on the table this turn? I think we may still be one more round away from combat here.
I could see some shots.
Depend on what the Imperials decide to do, I think.
That top striker, I don't think he can bank down. So it's
I think
aileron move is going to have to be straight, and then it's going to probably end up in range.
Unless he just decides to go through the rock.
Bold choice.
Probably not.
Historically, flying into rocks not been aeronautically sound.
He could do something weird too, though. He could bank left and then do like a hard turn, something goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing about strikers; they have so much flexibility and speed.
So no decloak.
Nope, keeping it cloaked. I don't think we will see much combat this round. Well, maybe he's going to turn in.
Well, but you can always decloak for the movement and then just cloak for your action.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what actually Brian, who was commentating earlier, that's what Brent did against me yesterday. Just a whole bunch of dancing around, cloaking and then recloaking.
It's scary.
Until he ate a proton rocket, but that's a different story. So yeah, they are spreading out the
I like this
the
flank
pinchers
maneuver.
here.
Well, he's left himself so much open space. He's going to have so much flexibility with these strikers. I really like this approach on the Imperial player. He's keeping the obstacles out of the fight, which I think when you're flying strikers is exactly what you want to do. And usually if you're flying a big brick of ships, you want this dispersed obstacle situation as well. But I wonder if a few more obstacles in the center might have benefited the Rebel player a little bit more, actually.
Maybe.
Just
it all depends on how confident is he about flying 7 ships through.
It's not easy.
Through a rock field, especially
not.
7 ships that are not particularly agile.
I think this game could go either way. It's going to be a really interesting one. Strikers need to do the most work in the beginning of the game when they're the most vulnerable. They need to start pulling ships off.
So I think there's going to be dice this turn, just because.
I think there are. Especially if the Rebels turn in hard, although I don't think they will. Like I said, I think they're going to.
Yeah, I think even a bank gives you range 3 for at least a couple people. Oh, he's.
Ha!
You're right.
Told you. That's a baller move. I respect that.
I guess the rock is the lesser of 2 evils when it comes to
I think I would have done that too. So I'm glad that Christopher
takes the
Appel
damage.
and I.
Looks like.
Yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's better than getting shot by a whole Rebel list. Still not what you want to see.
Yeah.
If he hadn't rolled some damage on there, but he baited him and switched it.
But that's exactly what I wanted to see out of the top. Was 3 banks.
Yep, and I think that's why he did that through the asteroid move. He did not want to get shot by all those ships. A damage is okay.
Yeah. Now the other striker's still going to get they're definitely taking shots this turn. That's definitely range 3.
It's true.
At least for the front guy.
You can take a couple little non-bullseye arc 2 dice attacks at range 3 because you're giving it back much more painfully, ideally. This is gonna be really interesting. So yeah, I don't know. The only flaw in this plan I'd say is that striker that's kind of facing the wrong direction now. It might take him a little bit to get back in the fight.
Yeah.
So I think that is maybe.
It also may be an opportunity where now the Talos could K-turn, or they could just continue in, bore in on the one who's behind the rest of the pack, kill him, then K-turn the next round.
Oh, they're going straight.
So they're not banking.
No, they're not banking at all. They're
definitely shooting there. Though.
Yeah, no, it's a really good thing that he peeled out because otherwise.
Yeah, he'd be right in their sights.
Yeah. So.
But now this poor guy next to him is thinking, "Hey, man, you were supposed to distract them. I really don't need this."
Yeah, this is very interesting. I like what the Rebels are doing here, actually. They're restricting the options pretty substantially. They're trying not to let themselves get flanked. Now, I don't know what Whisper's up to. Is Whisper going to, go, towards the top of the map now and try to attack from a different angle? Nope. Full straight, going to get into the fight.
Well, no.
Not this round.
Yeah.
But
eventually.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, do you decloak again forward and then hard 1, try and get on their flank with Whisper and turn everybody else in?
I don't know. It's tough. You don't want to hit that many Z's shooting at you all at once. But at the same time, he's a bit committed to this attack right now with those strikers. So, I don't know. Maybe next round you try to do some blocking. Try to deny some actions. Throw one of those strikers up in front to mess up his formation.
You could also actually decloak Whisper right in front of them.
Yeah.
And then with your maneuver, K-turn or just do something to get out of their arcs.
It's true.
Not with that, though. Now he's going to be too far away.
No, this is interesting. So definitely trying to hard flank with Whisper. Doesn't want to lose Whisper early because Whisper's a finisher.
Yes.
Not only is Whisper a finisher, Whisper's also carrying Sloan, which is going to
True.
become more and more important as the match winds down. But yeah, this is just going to be some light trade of fire unless something goes
To
really...
be all range 3.
That's all out. 67. That's out.
This might be a really solid round for the Empire, actually, if they can get a couple shots in at 1 Z95.
Looks like it's only going to be
One,
single shots, basically.
yeah.
Single ships trading with each other.
which is not to the Rebels' advantage at this moment. Though you never know. Dice are funny things.
That one.
Where did their die go?
Must have rolled out of the...
Range 3.
Yeah, the Empire doesn't have a lot to worry about here unless they just roll extremely badly. Gotta have that focus.
So trade focus
Makes
for
a
focus.
lot of difference. But now the Empire has more dice, has a better chance of actually
They've got
putting
no
some hurt
focuses,
through.
though.
That's true. That's true.
So it'll be,
But neither does that Z95.
yeah.
And red versus green. 1, it's more red dice. 2, there's a better probability of rolling paint on your red dice than your green dice.
Number 4.
So we'll see.
Are you shooting? 6. Okay. I don't think I've got.
Yeah, I don't think he can't shoot the other one either, I don't think.
Not with the bottom tie.
Yeah, so it's going to be one
But with
shot
the
on each Z.
1-on-1, yeah.
Can you guys both roll your corresponding?
I mean, I don't think it's in, but it's worth a check.
It's interesting. See
We
whether
have
they've got
Vic in there
firing
providing our
arcs.
judging services this round.
Look at this, been determined.
And now every ship is sticking to their fingers.
Of
Perfect.
course, of course.
3 on 9.
All right,
4. Yep, number 4 shooting.
here comes a striker.
So naked attack,
Just one.
not great.
Pushes one through, though.
No,
Oh, this is the focus ship?
he dodged. He had
Oh, he had an
evade
evade.
on the white die.
Gotcha. Oh, there's a white die in the mix. No wonder.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm having trouble seeing. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay.
So pretty even there, 1 and 1
Yeah.
between the rock and the.
And 5, I think, is out. So
Yeah, they're just, this is the point in the fencing match where they're just.
This next turn is where it gets interesting.
That's where things start to go down, for sure. For sure. The question is Whisper going to come in the fight, or is Whisper going to play the long game a little bit longer? That barrel roll to the left suggests that he wants to try to get Whisper into some sort of flanking maneuver, but you can, of course, just decloak right back to the right and turn in. There's a lot of options with a cloaked Phantom
Yeah.
in terms of where it can end up, so it'll be really interesting to see what Christopher decides to do.
Also, this other striker, it's going to be lagging, at least a turn behind its compatriots.
It depends on how fast those rebels go. It could do a one bank and a hard turn and have a shot this round.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be shooting.
But it will be, you're right, it will be...
Then, the next turn, it risks just being the only thing they can shoot at.
This is very, very high level, very technical, very tactical play here. Because this is all about firing arcs and engagement ranges and that, beautiful high level
Not
X-Wing
getting
tournament
bumped.
play. Not getting bumped, not losing actions. The rebel player in particular has to think, are these strikers going to go for that block?
Yeah.
It's risky to go for the block.
Well, and with those two groups of Z95s converging,
Oh, yeah.
one ship could cause 6 or 7 lost actions.
Oh, total chaos here. Like,
And
look
just
how
a
clumped
nightmare.
up they are. If I were Christopher, I think I would send that striker that's right in the middle of the pack there. I'd probably try to send it in on a blocking maneuver.
Sure.
It's a risky move, but I think this is a perfect time to try to get that block off. Because if you can mess this formation up, buy yourself some time to slip around behind, I think that's when you can start really putting the pressure on these Z95s. But it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, if you block a 1 forward from the lower pack, then you probably end up blocking the most of the top. Although I guess you can move the top first, but
Yeah,
only 2 of those will get clear of the lower pack.
And it depends. Like this might be
It's
a turn.
weird.
This might be a turn that he K turns. That's the X factor in this match too. Like,
Yeah, I think that leaves you too short though.
well, probably. Yeah, I don't think
Especially if half of the guys are too far back.
It depends though. Like if that middle striker's trying for the block, it gets up there and then they K turn around behind it. It's a possibility. It's not a likely possibility, but even so, you have to factor that into your analysis as the
Yes.
Imperial player.
I don't like the Tala's kind of converging past there. It makes his maneuvering very tight this round.
Yeah, they're not in a wonderful place at the moment, but I think that's to the credit of the strikers sort of drawing them into this bunched up formation that they don't necessarily want to be in. It's better to have your guys grouped together, though, because as soon as they start straying...
Oh, yeah, you don't want to get cut away from the
they
pack
get
and brought down.
Picked off, totally.
But I think we have Blair there, going through all this in his head, thinking, okay,
It's a lot.
how am I going to get actions on, any of these Z95s?
Yep. No, this is really good play by the Imperial player because they have a lot of different options how they want to approach this, and they have those lower strikers and Whisper in a really nice place.
Yeah, I definitely like those two. They're in a great spot to come around and then force them to either turn towards you and then present your flank to the rest of your squad.
Mm-hmm.
Always love Z95s, although without some kind of some juice, it can be really hard to push damage through with them.
Oh, for
So
sure.
you don't have a HAL runner.
Nope.
And if you don't have a missile, you don't have a feedback array or some other shenanigans.
Yep.
You're really just counting on 2 red dice, which is just not always enough.
They're slightly fewer squad points than they used to be.
Yep.
Their dial is ever so slightly better, and they have a red barrel roll. So they're a little bit more attractive an option than they used to be.
Sure.
But they're still just a cheap throwaway ship.
They are the
They're
vanilla.
never going to be. They're the TIE Fighter of the Rebels.
Yes.
They're not built to last. And so when you put all of your ships, into this strategy, it has a tremendous reward.
Feast or famine.
Exactly. Like if you can get those guns on target, it's a lot of dice to throw. But they are fragile. They are, undergunned, and they are not particularly maneuverable. So it really takes some expert level play to make this kind of list work. Same with the striker list. Like it's not easy to manage ailerons every round, and strikers are also quite fragile. And that speed is double-edged
So
sword.
here's the decloak forward.
Okay. Kind of expected this, the decloak forward, possibly followed by a hard turn. Keep it at the fringe of the fight. Allow it to recloak. Because once Whisper starts, in on a vector where she can really leverage that constant cloaking and decloaking, then you start lining up your range 1 shots. Then you start becoming a real problem.
So here's the hard turn.
Mm-hmm. This is a bit of a joust. It's going to be a really interesting thing. I'm just waiting to see whether he tries to pull off a block or decides that is too risky.
I think you got to.
There's danger there though, right? Because the danger is you just get deleted. Sure, you cost him some actions, but then they get to roll a bunch of range 1 shots on you. So I don't think he's doing the block. I think he's just coming in at a vector here.
So a block could potentially come from the other striker below.
That's true.
Ailerons forward boost, and then
Yeah,
a bank
that's
in
true.
front of the whole formation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because
This guy won't block anything if they go. Well, he won't block the lower pack if they go 1 straight.
Right, but I think they're going to want to turn in.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you.
I'm not even sure he blocks that bank.
No, it'll be interesting.
Okay, all right.
I don't think he's going for the block.
No.
I think he's going for the flank. Yeah. No, he's not trying. I don't think he's trying for a block.
Nope, I don't think so.
That could cost him because he's still going to be right up in there.
Yeah, I almost feel like this has potential to be the worst of both worlds. If you don't block and you're still
and
right
you're still
in front.
there at range 1, especially with initiative 1.
Yeah, you're shooting
You know,
after.
like you got to survive a lot of Z95 shots. I don't think that's necessarily what you want.
They're all lining up here.
I don't know if this favors the Imperials. Like he's turned this into sort of a normal joust situation, which is what the Rebels want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I like this approach.
It's everybody.
Well, and I mean, if they go slow enough, that back striker maybe has a range 3 shot.
Wow, this is interesting. They're not going slow at all.
Jeez.
They're coming. This is very interesting. So I think maybe the Rebel player may regret some of his decision making here, because we may not get that close in engagement.
Yeah,
that
he
would
may
like
actually
to
get the
see.
blocks that he wanted after all.
He might. Yeah, that's very interesting. Maybe he was anticipating the block, And this is one of those, I know
Jump
that
past
you
the
know
block.
that, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know that I love that 3 bank.
No, that doesn't put that Z in a very good place. But here's the thing. I think he expected the block and was trying to
get past it.
Get past it, but that is not what.
It also may.
This is the head games of X-Wing, right?
It may be to clear the back group too.
Right.
So now the back group can go 1 straight, maybe 2 straight, and not hit the front group.
If the back group comes in nice and gentle, I think the Rebel player still has a really nice pile of dice to throw this round.
He almost had to go fast, otherwise he's gonna.
To make sure to free that up.
I mean, otherwise the back group can go fast, but then the whole front group's gonna hit them.
It's true.
So it may just be the follow-on effects of that first turn.
Holy Toledo, man, this is going to be a carnage-filled round. Stuff's going to go boom. It's going to be pew, there's going to be pew, and there's going to be ships off the board. That is my prediction. This is going to get gnarly. A lot of crack shots are going to go off, too, I think.
Well, yeah, that lead striker has at least 2 bullseye arcs on it.
I don't think that striker's long for this world, to be quite honest. And that's where your initiative comes into play. At Initiative 1, these strikers have to survive a barrage before they can even contribute to the fight.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That can be a real problem.
The striker's going to be off for a while.
No, I think the Rebels have really pulled into a nice formation here. This is exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, other than the one's just a little bit too far.
Considering how they had to
forward.
deal with this split approach,
jam.
I think this is a really nice play by the Rebel player. U-wing slow rolling.
Now, the best part of this, I think, for the Rebels is it is very likely they can K-turn a bunch of those Zs
Yep.
next turn.
They have a very beautiful potential to do a nice Leia Organa round. And Leia's good like that, and now that she's not once per game, she's going to come back and he'll be able to do that again, maybe 2, 3, possibly even 4 times this game, depending on how long it goes.
I don't think we will get to 12 rounds or whatever that would be.
Well, she's
9
got
rounds.
what? She's got what? 2 charges?
3.
3 charges? Okay.
3 charges. So you need 3 rounds to
You're
get
looking
it off.
like more of a twice, maybe 3 times a game
Yeah.
situation.
We've seen it done twice so far.
Yep. But still, that's pretty good.
And you do have diminishing returns on later uses because presumably you're losing some ships.
You do, but
Especially when there's
you
these.
can get that one critical monster round and it
So
can really
no
have
focus.
a ripple effect. No, that's interesting.
Maybe
Is there going to be a barrel
sneak
roll?
a damage through or keep her from recloaking at the end with that front Z. No, there was a barrel roll.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that Z wants to shoot Whisper, to be honest. I think it's better off trying to blast a striker.
It should be range 3.
Oh, that one's shooting Whisper.
Well, all right. Hey, I guess you got to take the shots when you can, right?
No action, so it's just 2 naked
Yeah,
dice.
yeah, at least stop the recloak, potentially.
3.
Think about Ruthless for a second.
Oh, he's shooting.
Oh, this,
He must be
is,
shooting
this
the
is
striker.
Whisper. Yeah, that makes more sense.
If any of mine are
Yeah.
Range 1. Is he range 1?
one of these.
Oh, he's ruthless. Is this some
Yeah.
some ruthless action?
Already.
So I can get
Wow. I like it. This is an Imperial after my own heart. Just
no regard for their own
Going
their
for
own
it.
men.
that's fascinating. Ruthless.
He's gonna do
Nope.
it. Nope.
Nope. Thought better of it.
Oh, and
Still
it goes
pushes one
through.
I would say until you start dropping some Z's, maybe ease off on the ruthlessness. Especially since you've got to survive to the, initiative 1 step.
Well, and also if you ruthless is
I like that he thought about
trading
it.
health,
I like that he thought about it.
and if he trades health 1 for 1, he loses.
This match, yes. I think other matches where he's up against more elite chips, more of a smaller ship
certainly.
list.
Certainly.
But to push it onto a Z, I don't think it's the right move. I got excited for a second.
So shield lost on the Z. He's not spinning the focus.
Okay.
Probably smart since he's at range 1.
Yep.
Can take that shot.
With a list like that, you don't have to worry about a
Take
few.
range 3 at Whisper.
He's shooting Whisper.
Okay.
Womp womp.
Is he
I
gonna
don't
do
think
it?
that's gonna work.
No.
Come on. He's got 2 evades. No.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it. I wouldn't have even shot Whisper with 2 evades probably with the Z95.
67.
It's a tempting target, but
Number 3.
All right. Now we get down to the business on the strikers. That'll do.
yep.
That's a half.
If he spends it. Which,
Well,
I mean,
and then he
ought
gets
to.
crack shot.
Oh yeah.
I will crack shot.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be tough for these.
that one's-
It's going to
I
be
mean-
really tough for these strikers to survive long enough to fire
He's going to be
back.
down a striker.
Well,
Definitely.
that's kind of one of the cool things about going up to Talos. You know, you
Sure.
get the occasional pilot skill advantage against academy pilots, against low-level strikers,
Well, I also believe the Bandit doesn't have the
and you get crack shot.
the EPT.
Yep. But I mean, like, the other approach to this kind
So
of
that was another use of crack shot
Yep.
and a dead striker.
Yep. But I mean, so by going Talas and crack shot, each of these ships is 3 points more than.
But
a
I would say
Bandit.
3 points well spent.
Definitely, but it's interesting to see them go this route instead of the missile route, because the
Sure.
other option is to spend those extra points on missiles.
Yes.
It's a totally different list. I don't know which one is better. There's pros and cons to each, but we're seeing the initiative, pay off.
I
for
would
this
I would
match.
think probably missiles if I didn't have to bring the Blue Squadron Scout
Sure.
to carry Leia, because then you're free up.
And
But a K
20
turn,
points out of
a K
that.
turn and a missile is not too shabby.
Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting choice to go
that guy.
ordnance free in a Z95 swarm. It's unusual, but it seems to be paying off so far. Rebels definitely in the lead at the moment.
Well, most of the Imperials have yet to warm their guns up. I think one or two of those Z's is going to be in a real bad place.
It's true, but they're already down a striker, which means that's a whole range one shot
Yes.
that's not going to come through. He might be down 2 strikers unless his dice improve.
So 36.
That's
Some,
going to make
brain surgery
Yep.
here.
Classic X-wing neurosurgery.
It's like 3.
Measure that.
3 to me.
Arc. So every die matters. Every one. Especially at this level of play.
Kind of interesting. We had no Hawk on the table this time.
No Hawk. I heard it was a Hawk-filled morning.
It was a
Both
definitely
both
tended
Rebels,
Hawk.
Well, both Rebels and Imperials have really good
So two shots on the striker.
options
Looks like
in that respect.
yep. Spin the focus, take no damage. I mean, stripping focuses off those strikers is definitely
It's not good for those strikers.
not bad.
Let's check range from this one first on targets.
And
So he'll do 3 in on 3 on that one.
Which is that one?
6.
6. Yep.
okay, so now strikers are replying. 3 shots. 3 hits on
Here's where the hurt
untokened
comes in.
Z. So that's
Yep.
the shields.
Bam, bam.
Oh, actually, shields and a Hulk. He took one earlier from Whisper.
Yeah, that's really irritating for the Imperial player, though, because he hasn't finished the ship off
Yeah.
quite. That's always where you're like, that's the super annoying thing about going
Waste
up against
3 more, or
swarms.
waste 4 dice in this case,
Yep.
just to take off 1 Z.
That's one of those like secret strengths of the swarm list is when you just have that ship with 1 hull left, hasn't taken any crits, it's still exactly as effective as it was when it started. And it's just one of those things where you look at it and you're like, I don't want to shoot that, but I have to.
So he does with Z that's stressed there because of Sloan.
Sorry,
Yep, and that will help.
Tokens were throwing me. That's all.
But again, Leia really takes some of the edge off of Sloan.
Certainly.
That ship can
So
still
I'll do,
K-turn.
4 from this one on 6.
Here we got some more dice coming through.
Oof. He had spent the focus though, so
So 1.
sneaks the 1 through, which is all it needed to kill that Z95.
Yep, so it can't really be dissatisfied with that result. It's still a dead ship.
Under the window.
It's not gonna matter, but it doesn't matter. You take.
Yeah, technically the ship would stay till the end of that pilot skills.
True, but there's
activation,
with
but-
no effects on the board, I can
Yes.
understand. They just want to
So
clean it up a little bit.
9 has
3 life left.
3. Yeah, he's got the 1 shield down.
So yeah, there's only one other hurt Z95 at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say the Rebels have a slight edge at the moment. They've deleted a striker, which is much more valuable than
Yes.
a Z, and they've still got that damage from the striker that flew through the rock. But
Yeah, I'll do 3
the
in,
counterpoint to that
Can change very
is
quickly.
It could change very quickly, and they're not going to have too many more rounds of just really nice jousting.
Sure.
Like, this is where the Rebel list shines. This is where it has to do work.
So no shields on that Z now.
That's all your shots. And pick up a quote.
Okay. It's still anybody's game.
Yes.
Sloan
So
is
Whisper
some
decloaks to the
problems.
left and arcs in through those, slow bank in through those asteroids.
maybe, unless he's anticipating a K-turn, in which case he could just go to the right and come right in.
3 to
It's a risky move.
Even if they K-turn, being off to the left isn't bad.
No, I think I would go left and turn in to be sure. But
And I gotta think it's still a little early for. Well, so the U-wing could stop,
yep.
and then
I don't
the
think it will
could
yet.
K-turn.
But we'll see. Here's the sort of annoying thing for the Imperial player. It's going to be hard to keep these ships from bumping because of the ailerons. Now he's got a nice path actually. He blew up that ship, so he kind of made himself a door there that he can slip through, which is interesting. You could do the ailerons in a K-turn or something like that, or you could go for a left or more of a left kind of flanking maneuver. This is going to be a really interesting couple of rounds. I think a big part of how this game is going to be play out is going to be decided right here.
Yeah, we've got a lot to consider there. I think I would thread the needle with the one striker.
Just for fun, right? Like it looks entertaining to do that.
Yeah, and you can
it's also a good position.
You can S-loop or something around behind them then.
Oh yeah. Or you could go at that U-wing too.
Which now, but that is why I think maybe K-turns and stops is not a bad idea this round.
I know, that's what I was saying. Like Leia gives you so much flexibility.
Yeah,
like
if they try to get cheeky, you catch them.
Oh yeah.
Catch them out.
Yeah, I think certainly the Z95 on the bottom of the map would be a nice K-turn potential. Because he's not probably going to get a shot off if he doesn't. So that factors into your Leia analysis, right? You have one ship that wants to K-turn. Do you have enough ships that want to K-turn?
You also have to weigh the fact that the sooner you use her, the sooner you'll have her again.
Yep, it's a lot.
The longer you sit on her, the less likely it is that you're ever going to get a second use.
Yep, it's true. It's true. I think I would use her this round, even if I'm only K-turning a few ships. Just let her recharge, because this game's going to be a long one. This one's going to go to time. There's just this many ships on the board.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's going to be.
I like a K-turn for maybe 2, maybe 4 of the Zs.
Yeah.
The back one and the U-wing, obviously not.
You have to be tempted not to overcommit too. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you want to do it with all of your ships.
That's just good life advice in general.
This is true. This is true. Take it from Matt and I. We've been around. We've lived.
And with the addition of with the 4K, I don't think the striker can block the front Z's K-turn even.
No, I don't think so.
Because you're going to have to one bank in. That brings you, I think, a little bit too close.
Yeah, I mean, it could block. The back striker could block the one Z, right?
Not the front one, though.
Maybe.
Think?
No, because of the ailerons move.
Yeah.
But it could probably block some of the other ones if it came just rocketing in. But again, does it want to do that? I don't know. I don't think the Imperial player is all that interested in trying blocks at this juncture. I think they're more interested on having good targets, good engagement ranges.
Yeah, and if that was what he wanted to do, I mean, he had some really good opportunities to block and chose to not do them, so I don't think that's really maybe...
I don't think that's the game he wants to play.
Yeah,
no, I don't think that's the game he wants to play, because the thing about trying to block a swarm, when you have some closer ships, when you have some really nasty ships to put some hurt on, and you can throw away a cheap ship, like an A-wing or a TIE or a Z95, sure. But those strikers are really valuable. You can't just throw one away just to get a block off.
So Whisper is darting out.
Yeah. Playing the long game with Whisper, which is interesting. So you got to factor time into the match too, because
you're down points at the moment.
Given infinite time, could Whisper probably delete this entire list? Perhaps, but that is not how a tournament game of X-Wing be. So if you get a little too careful with Whisper, you get a little too fancy.
Okay, so
you don't necessarily have the time to pick those points back up. Well, this is a cool move, because if that Z does K-turn, it might fall right into the guns there.
The blue base. The blue base Z?
Yeah,
that would fall directly in front of that striker.
Exactly. So
he's going to one bank.
We will see. But it's not. It's going for the joust. Oh, no, this is the striker.
Yeah. Strikers all got to do their stuff first.
Yep. Yeah, this will be really interesting. He's not threading the needle. As cool as that would have been to blow up a ship and then fly through the wreckage.
He'll reveal it too.
This
I mean,
is
there's
very
nothing more
interesting.
Star Wars than
Right?
than that.
Uh-huh. This is going to be really interesting.
Back one.
So if you're going to run the, somebody's asking how many conversion kits to run that Rebel Squadron. I think it's just 2, right? You get 3.
Yeah,
3 Zs in each
3
one?
Yeah, two conversion kits, or maybe talk to a friend.
Yep.
Borrowed some dials.
Yeah, if your friend is also obsessed with running a Z Swarm, then yeah, you might need to buy another one. But
Just gonna check my dial again.
Yeah, 2 conversion kits lets you do just about everything.
what if you want to run 7 Space Tug?
That does
Quad
not.
jumpers.
Then you are in some trouble. Then you got to have a community. Which it's interesting you mentioned that because that's actually a pretty dang scary list.
It is. There's actually a lot of quad jumpers in these lists.
It's a great ship.
They're
and
cheap,
It's
they're tricky.
It's at an incredibly good price point right
Yeah.
now. Like I think you look at that on the lot and you're like, it's a budget. It's a budget ride, but it has got some potential.
Okay,
So he did do the nice little sloop behind, and now he's just going to maybe another.
And no action for that guy.
I like that striker positioning. I'm not sure I like the one that just collided where it ended up, but I really like the one that slipped behind the formation. I think
Not
that's
a
gonna be-
K-turn.
So no Leia this round.
So going for Whisper,
I wonder about that. That's interesting.
although at significant risk to yourself.
Yeah, that's an odd move, I think. I was really expecting the case this round, to be honest. But he's holding back. He's saving Leia up, maybe for next round.
Just mark. Mark from the back.
Depending
We
on-
just got some statistics from our people behind the scenes
Oh,
here.
here we go.
The Jakku Gunrunner is the #1 most used scum ship.
It's just, it fits so nicely into that list. And it's so bargain priced right now. Do we have any 7-ship Jakku Gunrunner swarms?
I didn't see that,
The tugboat annihilation list?
but I wouldn't
'cause-
rule it out. So he did get a nice block there.
Yeah, that's actually pretty tasty.
And that might get some follow-on effects from the.
I'm liking the Imperial players maneuvering this round a lot better than I'm liking the Rebels. Still got a lot of Z95s, though. Anything could happen. Maybe he's saving Leia for a turn where he can also utilize the U-Wing to his advantage. There's certainly merit to that strategy.
Yeah, well, I if the strikers had gone faster, stopping the U-Wing is, I think, not bad.
Right.
But
But
in
for,
this
for
situation,
future, for future
not
rounds. Yeah, for future rounds. I don't think he's going to stop with the U-Wing.
great. No, not now.
But by saving Leia, he can do a stop, a rotate, and end up without stress. That
Sure.
is pretty tasty.
So he doesn't get the follow-on block from that Z.
No.
So the one striker down there at the bottom is going to be in a hurt.
This is a really good round for the Imperials, I must say. Like, this is exactly where the Imperial wants to be. Yeah, his striker on the bottom there is going to take some fire, but it's at a range he wants to take fire at, and the rest of his list is really nicely positioned.
Whisper.
Oh, your striker that's hit.
Yeah, after I move in, whisper, okay?
So Whisper, and you're really not going to take any shots. So gets to get in there.
Well, Whisper's got a shot on this Z.
Oh, from the Z. I'm saying not going to be getting shot.
Yeah,
at
yeah, and I
much.
think that hitting that Z and getting another evade token is exactly what Whisper wants to do. Because that Z's only option is to shoot Whisper. It's not an amazingly attractive shot. If he spends his token, it's
There you go.
it does have crack shot though. And that's
Does it still have it?
which one is that? I can't see. Is
It's-
that number 2?
Your guess is as good as mine.
We'll see. We'll see. Ooh.
So he's going to push one through,
All right.
get his evade.
Yep. Boom.
Ooh, and kill.
Not a factor. Whisper.
That was the first
That was
one
the damaged one.
that
Yep.
had lost his shields.
Yep. So that one we really didn't have a chance.
Your shots.
Yeah. And now the beautiful thing about that is that striker can send its fire elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's a really good result.
Ugh.
Ooh. Danger. It's not a fun place to be. Do you just take the damage? You got a lot more fire coming in.
Spin the focus.
He's going to do it. He's going to. Discretion is the better part of valor here. You don't want to take hits with all that.
Range 3.
With more fire coming in like this. Do the sure thing.
Oh, man. He just only having a focus is really
Yeah,
costing him here.
it's true.
That's the danger when you don't have any tricks, really. You know, you're just.
Yeah, and he hasn't elected to use any target locks yet. He's been keeping things flexible, which I think is smart.
Yeah, especially because he all those Z's can be targeted by multiple strikers right now.
Exactly.
Like, you can't risk.
Z's are pushing things through, though. That's what they do. Just throw enough dice and stuff
That is the
goes
hurt
through.
one already, so he's
Oh,
now
yeah.
half points.
Yep, half points and another shot coming in. And he's spending it. He's just doing it. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
he's also
make
the
you-
U-wing is yet to shoot.
And that's one more. See, here's
One more.
here's the problem with being initiative 1. You don't have the ability to take this volume of fire. Like, yeah, you got a lot of defense dice, but you're just going to chip damage through, chip until you go down. With only 4 hull, it's not.
Oh, they're going to have to check the range here for the U-wing. Blair really wants that other dice on the striker here.
I mean, if he can take a striker out every round before it fires, he's going to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
That's just how that's going to go. So, does he have the range, though? It's going to be close.
Looks end to me. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. So the striker really needs a good roll, or he needs the U-wing to fail here.
Get U-wing at number 2.
Because you can't trade strikers for Z95s. Oh, that's 3 hits. This is not looking good. So there he goes.
Too stressed for you.
But double stress on the U-wing is actually pretty cool. That's a ship.
Yeah.
That's a ship you want to get stressed.
But Leia can also still give it some options.
Yep, Leia's pretty nasty.
This one? Sure.
So we're down to
35 is still full.
2 Z's dead and 2.
two
Sentinels
strikers,
destroyed.
range 1 shots, unmodified, on a healthy Z. Z doesn't have focus though, so Z maybe survives.
We'll see.
Let's do 4 on 35.
We'll see how the dice play out.
This one's active.
Now, I will say this. By holding off on Leia, he's got a really great Leia round next turn. Like, he may have made the right decision here.
That's
Bye.
the reroll from Sloan on the stress ship.
And then
Yep. That's the other beautiful thing about Sloan is when you start spreading the stress around, you start really,
Yeah.
Range 1.
really adding
So
some
shooting
value.
at the U-wing looks like.
Trying to take that Leia out.
Sloan 1.
Not bad.
Too shabby. Ooh, there go the shields. All right, I think this is a very close game, actually. This could go either way.
Yeah,
And-
the 2 strikers remaining are unhurt.
They're unhurt. Whisper is unhurt.
Yeah, and Whisper's the
A
real
lot of stress on the
problem
rebel side of the
for-
board.
for Blair. Is
I really like this matchup. This is a
Christopher
fascinating
going to
game.
recloak here?
I don't know.
Or is he going to...
I don't know.
Whisper gets the cloak token.
There we go.
Yep. Yep. I really like the new Phantom. They're so much fun to play.
Yeah, played against 3 of them, Whisper and 2 Sigmas yesterday.
How'd that go?
Really, really well when you roll all hits on proton torpedoes
Yeah,
and
that works.
proton rockets.
That's one way to do it.
Straight up. Goodbye.
Poor Brian.
Part of the tournament regulations.
I am gonna predict. I'm gonna predict the Leia move this coming round. I think it's the time to do it.
So the interesting thing with the Phantoms that I played against, they had collision detectors, so they can decloak through the rock when they need to.
Yep. You didn't have the points for it, but
yeah,
that's a
that was
great,
it was just a
that's
cool.
a great system on a
It was a
Phantom.
cool little trick.
Oh yeah. No, Phantoms are some really fun stuff you can do with Phantoms. Vader on a Phantom with Juke. is a
He also
really
did that.
Fun way to play them. Collision detector is really great. Advanced sensors is maybe overkill, but it does give you yet another ridiculous bit of maneuvering. And hey, sometimes you just want to have it all.
Decloak one way, barrel roll back the other.
Seriously.
Juke him out.
You can do all kinds of crazy stuff.
So I think Whisper decloaks to the left again.
I'd do forward.
Do
If I-
forward.
Yeah, get in there. Start burning it down. That's just me, though.
Oh.
You know how I play.
Hey, ooh. Ooh.
Because I think the Z's are K-turning, so I think you just go in there with Whisper. It's time. He's going to be occupied. It's risky, though.
Yeah, I mean, if they K-turn, you can still snipe at them from the flanks.
I mean, I'm not saying he goes, 5 straight or whatever, but I think he comes straight. I don't think you need to get fancy. You know what you could do? You could decloak forward and then just do a 1 straight, or one straight. So a total of a 3 straight.
Sure.
Or you decloak forward and you do a hard turn or something like that. We'll see. He'll probably go left.
So
But I think you can make a case for forward.
Striker's not going to go anywhere, and then it's going to have its maneuver.
Yep.
Other striker was stressed from the sloop.
Yep. Are you anticipating like a Segnor's loop for this striker? What do you think it's going to do?
Well, I believe the top one is stressed because he did Segnors.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know where the stress is, but that's how he got to
It's
that
behind
position.
it's behind the wing there. You can kind of see it.
Okay. The other one, I don't hate a Segnors for the other one.
There's a request on the forums.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can indulge that request. This is the United States.
I'll say it. I'll say Z95.
Traitor.
Before activation, decloak happens during the system.
Z95.
So system phase, a whole new thing for X-Wing 2nd Edition. Just cleans up a lot of those little weird interactions that got shoehorned in before combat
Yeah.
or before
it's-
activation.
One of the big goals that we had on the design team was to streamline things, to take some things that had gotten a little chaotic and make them much more understandable, or at least simpler and cleaner. So I'm really happy with having been able to break the whole game down and kind of rebuild it, knowing how it worked a little bit better.
Certainly.
So that was really an exciting opportunity. I got one more for you, Matt.
What's that?
Aluminium Z95. How do you feel about that?
It's okay, you Britons. We love you.
We do. We do.
All right. Just pondering the decloak, or really want to lock in that maneuver. I would not want to fly this Imperial list for 6 rounds of heavy competition.
It's tough.
I would have a headache.
It's a brave list. I really respect it, though. It's got a lot of tricks. And Sloane is a fascinating choice.
Yeah.
Usually you see her with a bigger list. But the fact that these strikers have good attack dice, the fact that they can block, the fact that they can spread stress around, this is a list that can actually deal with people like Wedge.
He's changing his maneuver wildly here. 21
It's
minutes
hard.
left. This is
This could go either way. I feel like
both these lists
of these
just
players are really
devour
good.
time.
Absolutely. The nice thing about these lists, though, is like, yes, they take a long time to plot, but when you actually get to the combat phase, a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah.
So you have a longer,
Sure.
you have a longer activation phase, you have a longer planning phase, but a lot of things go down in the combat phase with that many dice flying around.
So decloaks forward. You called that.
Okay. So, start activation, I will pop Leia.
So Leia is going to activate.
So this one first?
Yeah. Leia.
You're stressed.
Yeah. Just revealing. Yeah, sorry.
So no ailerons,
Yes.
which is such a crazy ship. That's a Frank Brooks special. That's some wackadoo Frank Brooks design right there. I think it's super cool, but
And then that one's
And
just
it's
gonna-
thematic and it has
the
its own identity.
the fertile mind of Frank. And he's like, yeah, and then the ailerons will turn off if you're stressed. I'm like, Frank, that's so much to think about. And he's like, these players know what they're doing.
So other striker just,
Heck yeah.
Double
Leia-
crash, didn't
Leia
move at all.
Organa.
and now we get some actions from the
This
Rebels.
is the Rebels' turn to shine, I think.
And they need to.
They need to.
They
This
need to
is-
get something done.
I think this is the last turn the Rebels have to make big plays.
Sure.
Because this is the kind of list that shines when you have a lot of ships on the board.
And they're just losing them too quickly.
Yep. No, I think the Rebels have a very good chance of
So the U-Wing's just staying
pulling
where it
this
is.
off. Heck yeah. Well, the coolest thing about it is it
Rotate.
Can rotate if it wants to.
Rotate to face that striker.
I don't know that I would rotate, but you could. We'll see what the rest of the Z's do.
So the strikers are going to be feeling some hurt. Assuming he can actually roll paint on his dice.
Assuming that. But he hasn't had too much trouble so far. And he has a lot of crack shots left. I wish we could see which ships still had crack shot, but I know he hasn't used too many of them. I'm looking at the.
So the dead one had one.
Yep, he's still got.
Both dead ones had crack shots
1,
still.
2, 3, 4.
Well, that one's dead.
That
so
one's
2
dead.
crack shots remaining. Two crack shots died. 2 were
sure.
used. 2 are left. Now, which 2? It's anyone's guess. I think it's these top 2 because these bottom 2 burned it when they.
Sure. But those crack shots, I
lined
mean,
up early.
that can make all the difference.
Yes.
You know, if you can remove a striker with crack shot.
Although I don't think they have bullseye on that top one.
I think.
Ooh.
Whoa, crazy.
Well, hello, Whisper.
Well, that could go poorly. Damn. Did not.
Be 3 range 1 shots on Whisper.
Woof. Did not expect those K turns.
Well, but
here's.
if he didn't expect the K turns, why would you ever turn that direction?
I don't know what he was thinking.
I think maybe he was suspecting the 4K.
Maybe that's not a good place for Whisper to be.
Because a 4K.
Sure. Well, it might not be too bad.
Whisper then barrel rolls clear of most of them.
Can you tell if he's touching that top Z? No, he's not.
He's touching only one of those Zs, so 3 have range 1 shots.
This could go poorly. This may be the game for the Rebels here. I was feeling okay about the Empire until that happened. He's going to need some luck. He's going to need some. Now, Whisper's a little tankier than she used to be.
Chivslin, good luck to your son, who you say is competing here. Sorry you couldn't be with us here in Minnesota. So that's the Whisper roll. A whole lot of
nothing.
Just sadness.
Just not going well for Whisper. Not a good round for Whisper at all. Lack of an action really hurts. Such a huge maneuver too. It's surprising.
I'm curious the thought process behind that.
Whisper also had a cloak token.
One right there.
So Whisper could have decloaked in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about that maneuver. I think Whisper's going to pay the price.
So you take
Shoo.
2 crits.
Ouch.
5 and direct hit. Sorry, so that goes like that.
Oh no.
This was the.
This is a striker, not Whisper.
No, he's
He's
got
down to
1.
1. What's the other crit?
Weapons failure. He's rolling
What is that? When you perform an attack roll and fear attack.
That's a Z95 shooting a striker?
Yeah, Z95 just hit the striker. I think it was the Z95 that was
Who couldn't shoot
touching
Whisper
hit
and
that
doesn't have a
striker.
focus.
Ouch. No, I think
So
this
the
is the
U-Wing
Rebels'
can
turn
try and pick up the spare on that striker,
Oh yeah.
especially
No.
if the other guys kill Whisper.
Yep. Leia sprang this trap well.
Whisper range 1.
Yeah, come on.
General Organa.
Ooh.
That's not great.
Ooh.
Whisper dodged a bullet there.
Diminishing
U-Wing will go.
Ooh, here's the question. Do you pound Whisper or do you finish off that striker? I think that's the right move.
Yeah.
You finish off that
Self-defense.
striker. Yeah. That's what you want.
4 and 2, fine.
Okay. Come on,
Using
striker.
both, but no.
No luck. I think the Rebels are quickly closing the door on.
So I don't know
The
what our
Imperial
time
Hulks.
left is, but there's not that much, and that's
No.
3 dead strikers,
Nope, and Whisper
Versus-
whiffed out.
2 dead Zs, and no half points yet.
Whisper.
Yep. Well, and maybe a dead Whisper here, or a half points Whisper. It's not great. It's 2 shields gone.
Spin the evade.
7 hasn't shot yet.
67 is my last guy to shoot.
I mean, you don't want to spend that evade if you don't have to.
No, crack shot has been spent.
This has been spent.
It has been spent.
Okay.
Yeah. So those bottom 2 spent their crack shot.
Okay.
Top 2 did not.
Okay. Very interesting.
They were the ones that were lined up with that first striker that was killed.
This is a great turn for the Rebels.
I'll take the 2.
Ooh.
I like
Keep
that.
the evade.
Nope, I like that. You've still got some health left. That evade can be used against any shot. If he blanks out here, you're better off having the cloak token. Well, gonna have to use that evade now.
Well, no, he would live, but
It's true,
not by
there's no-
much.
there's no crits.
Either way, you're giving up half points on Whisper too, and I don't know what the time left is, but
Yeah, maybe you
Not very much.
Don't spend the evade, so that you can get behind. A cloak would be very valuable right now.
about 15 minutes remaining.
So a little time to knock down some
Yeah.
Zs. I don't know. This is a tough choice.
Not as short as I thought it might be.
Here, remember earlier in this match when we were talking about when you accidentally put your Phantom in a bad situation? Then you have really hard decisions to make about those evade tokens. Looks like
So
he spent
Whisper
it though.
From that
Took one. Spent it.
like-
He's not going to be cloaked.
No, but you just don't want to get too low. That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a little bit. That's a bit of what the Empire needed right there.
That's on the Blue Squadron Scout, leaving it at, what, 1 hull?
I think it has 6 and 3.
Yeah, it already had 1, so it's already down to 5.
Oh
Took
yeah.
4 more, I think.
Wow. Almost gone. Now, one of the cool things that the Rebel player has managed to do is managed to get finishing shots with the U-Wing. I think that's very intentional. Keep all your stress on one ship.
Oh,
know?
sure.
Like, don't spread it around.
The U-Wing's
Keep
not going to
your-
ever be unstressed anyways, so
Exactly.
just do it.
Whisper style you have in your hand.
But you know, the even if the Empire takes that U-Wing out, they're still going to be down on points.
Yep.
So I think this becomes really a game of inches here. Can you, with only 2 ships left, do enough damage to claw your way out of this points hole? I think that the only big mistake that was made this game is what Whisper did this round. And in a level
I
of
still
play
struggle
like
to
this,
see what that turn was supposed to do.
I just think it was a mistake. I think sometimes you just you make an error.
I mean, maybe you do.
Me? Never. I don't make mistakes.
Oh, should we talk about Fell's Wrath?
Hey, I didn't design that. I did design the 1.0 Phantom, though, so can't really claim I never made a mistake. Oh, and the Jump Master. Let's not forget about that. Let's never forget. Let's never let me forget about that.
You hear it, everybody. Keep him reminded. If anybody's asking about the health on Whisper, it is should be right there on the screen.
I believe
Whisper's got 2 hull left.
2 hull
Yep,
left.
That
so
is accurate, as far as I know.
That's half points on Whisper. That's a very.
Oh, yeah.
That's very good for the Rebel player.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't take Whisper out, that half-point rule in second edition makes all the difference in games like this.
Yes.
You can
Especially
no longer,
against a ship, an expensive
Yep.
and very dodgy little ship like that.
If it weren't for that half points rule, I'd say that the Imperial player would have a much better chance of climbing out of this
Slide in
situation.
for a bump.
So ailerons to bump
Yep.
and
Bump,
And then
bump.
regular 2-sloop.
yep, sloop behind him. I like
Nice. I like that too. Gonna polish off that U-Wing, but that U-Wing did its job. You got that one monster turn with Leia. That really makes a difference.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, take all that stress with him.
It's not meant for
Yep.
medium base. I don't know.
Sloane came into play here, but not the way that she would against a more elite list. Crippling a U-Wing with stress is not as nasty.
Yeah, just
as-
crippling an ace.
Or Boba
Especially-
Fett,
especially
Wedge
a,
Antilles,
action-
Luke Skywalker,
Action
Darth
reliant
Vader.
base ace.
Sloane's really neat like that, and she's a hard choice. I think keeping the U-Wing back and protecting it was a really smart play.
Sure.
It got some really nasty kill shots off. It kept Leia in place. I doubted a couple of the things that the Rebel player did earlier, and I think I was unwise to do so because I think we're seeing that he had a plan for this
Coming to fruition
engagement
here.
coming to fruition here. I think it's a pretty good plan.
Those of you who think supernatural reflexes is as bad as pre-nerf Whisper, what?
It ain't. It's just not. It's mean.
It's definitely good. It's I would say very, very similar to Sabine's power,
Yep.
and nobody ever was crying foul about that. So gonna try and just take the other striker off and let Whisper. Whisper's gonna run scared this turn, I would think. She's
could.
not cloaked, so she's gonna maybe try and get away and cloak just in the off chance they K-turned at her.
Yeah. Or you just go for it. You're down in points. You just K-turn because you're not gonna.
You'll shoot first at the very least. Red barrel roll.
Oh, fascinating. Trying to get that crack shot. I respect that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna work.
I didn't think he had a crack shot.
I don't know, man. I can't keep track. Who put all these tokens in the game?
It's your one opportunity to get rid of some of them, and you add more.
That's right. It's Fantasy Flight Games. We're all about those tokens.
So I thought the top 2 had the crack shots, but I guess we'll find out here soon.
We shall see. So here's the thing. Yeah, if that U-Wing, if you can protect that U-Wing, I don't think it's I don't think it's likely, but it's possible he can take this striker out.
Oh,
before
and
it
then
shoots.
keep the Ewing in play.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, fair.
That's the trouble with Initiative 1, you know? You got to wait
Yeah,
for
Striker has no defensive actions. He's got to take.
just takes a few bad rolls. Striker's not really any more durable than a Z95. In fact, it's less durable because it's got no shields.
Sure.
Strikers are really, they're very surgical.
Nice.
You have to play
So
them
he
very,
did.
very well.
He has one insurance Z here.
That's smart.
What does Whisper do?
I hope he K-turned. I hope he was just like, let's do it. Let's do it. We'll see.
Yeah, less than 9 minutes left in the round. He doesn't really have time
No,
to
he-
dance
he-
around.
He doesn't. He's
wasting
got
turns
to-
being cloaked.
Nope, he's got to fight. He just has to.
Barrel roll to try and block Whisper. I mean, if you can make Whisper spend a turn just facing
Blocked-
off into space,
blocked
that's
and
huge
stressed.
right now.
Definitely.
So attempt a 1 heart
Oh, weird.
and just bump.
So
That actually works out for Whisper, weirdly enough.
Not bad,
No,
not great.
It's not the worst.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got a shot on the
Yeah.
Z. He loses an
He
action,
bumps anyways.
but he's not.
I
in a
believe
bad-
that Z is unhurt at least, so it's unlikely
Yeah.
to go down.
He's going to do 4 in on that one.
range 1 shot though. You never know if the dice gods smile upon you. You can.
Is it barrel roll? Yep. Okay, so Sloan's active.
And Sloan just coming in with the rerolls. That's just a nice ability.
So 2, no dead Z there.
That's
Loses
half points.
one shield.
Oh, just one.
I think he just
I
lost
can't-
the
I-
one
I keep-
shield.
I
He's got
keep-
the light
Those
colored
white-
blue
that,
shield.
That
It's
white
hard to
dice. That white dice is hard to track.
tell. So this is
Takes a crit. Or spend it.
oh, that's the Ewing shooting Whisper.
35.
How did Whisper? Oh, he had the evade from hitting.
Yep.
So spent the evade.
1.
So he takes 1.
1 damage on the striker.
36, range 1. Or range 2, sorry. 1.
Ugh. Blair is just leaving so many focus on the table, but against blanks, that's enough. So that's half points on the striker too.
Yep.
So 3 or 2 and 3.
Interesting.
6 blanks in a row. Heartbreaker here,
Seriously.
So he'll shoot 4.
but he's
still-
not gonna. He's gonna get to kill the Ewing,
Well, at least everybody's dice was bad.
likely.
Reroll.
Oh yeah, that's going down. Yep. That's a
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
deleted Ewing. Sorry, Leia. Bye.
Striker at 1 hull. Whisper
She gave it all for the
at
rebellion.
2 hull. So now Whisper's still
This is really
not
close.
cloaked. Now is when I K turn Whisper.
Yeah, maybe. Or you
That's
could just
what I
turn.
do.
You could just turn back in. Just another hard turn. It's not too shabby. Hard turn lets you follow it up with a barrel roll if you need to get a shot off.
So what's
I don't
our
think you want to. I don't think
strike-
you want to be stressed if you don't have to be.
Sure.
He really needs to drop another Z95 before time runs out.
Yeah, this is. I mean, let's be real. This is probably your last turn.
Last or second to last. So you need a shot and you need as many actions as you possibly can. Because that striker's going down. Probably. That last planetary sentinel.
So half points on. You've got what 90, 102, plus half points on Whisper.
Which is another.
Is 134 points
Yeah.
in the bank for Blair at the moment.
Yep.
134 points in the bank versus. He's got half points on nothing. He's just got the dead scout and 2 dead Zs.
Yep.
So that's 52,
It's close.
103.
It's close.
So even killing a Z doesn't get him ahead.
No, he's got to kill a Z and get half points on another one.
Yeah, with 2 attacks.
It's not going to be easy. And that's assuming the striker stays on the board, which
True.
is looking unlikely.
True.
It's just
He
Z95s,
did evade.
though. Yeah, got an evade. Smart move.
If you guys are looking for those resistance and first order spoilers, I just recommend you pay attention to our website because that's where all that stuff's going to come. And so he's going to take the white hard turn, keep the stress just to line up another shot on the striker because he
Why
takes
not?
that off. It's over.
Yep.
Whisper can do everything she wants, and it will not matter.
The great thing about this, though, is this is still anybody's game. This is
Yeah.
right down to the wire. If the Empire can come through with some hot dice, and it looks pretty hot to me,
Spend the focus.
this could change the game. This could change everything. Oh, yeah. Ouch. So the crit.
So there's the dead Z.
Yep. Okay. Things just got more interesting.
Okay, 30 and then number 4.
If you are wondering when those spoilers will come, I can tell you with 100% certainty they will be in the future. You will not need to go back in time to see
Come
those
on,
spoilers.
Striker. Oh, just what he needed.
Oof.
This is a big turn for the Empire.
Same shot.
If this
Is this the
plays
focused
out,
one?
oh, that's looking meaner.
The not
Jeez.
focused one. Oh, man.
Oh, jeez.
He gets the chance to shoot.
Oh, man.
Not do a
Just
lot.
one. That's a game changer, though.
We're going to go to the next round.
Yeah, what are we at points-wise? Let's add this up. Let's do some math.
So I hear there is some fans from the UK who are watching and that have a certain Martin Chivers playing. Let me just encourage you guys to stick around because there's a very good chance he'll be on the stream next match.
Ah, fantastic. Stay tuned for that.
Little something, not just the Z, we're also giving you your requests here.
This one is going right down to the wire. 3 Z95s left.
3 Zs, 3 hull left on the Imperial.
There's stress on the board. Whisper's still in the fight. I think that was a turn that the Imperial player desperately needed.
Yes.
Some hot dice, keeping him in this fight. But it is still
and now
anybody's game.
you've got 2 Zs
This is going to be a photo finish.
dressed.
Yep, it's
So
not
they
great.
can't K-turn.
And no more Leia. This is a fantastic match.
Leia's not going to be able to force pull herself back into the...
No, she'll have to wait for her resistance version for that. She hasn't quite learned how to fly through space yet.
No messing with the timelines here.
I think it's all coming down to this round. I think we're looking at what about 2 minutes left in the round, so this is it.
Yeah, they're going to have to be real quick if they want to see another one, and
Who's on top right now? We got 3 Zs left, so that's 75 points.
yeah.
Versus half
None of them
a-
are half points.
Half a Whisper, which is
so it's
30.
125. The Zs are still ahead, I think.
Just barely.
What's this for worth?
Yeah.
Whisper, you've got half. He's 62 total.
31.
Yeah. I think.
Yep. The Empire still needs to do some damage.
They need to get half points and not lose the striker, I think.
Yep. That's what's got to happen.
Even then, it'll be very close.
No, if they get half points and they don't lose the striker, I think they win. I think.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's within.
Oh, yeah.
It's within 10 points or something.
Yeah, this is for all the marbles. This is the round that matters.
So gets the decloak.
Decloak and a hard turn would be my guess.
Yeah, yeah.
That last turn was kind of heartbreaking for the Rebel player, to be honest. They had a real chance to just
So that won't clear.
It stinks.
the dice. The dice giveth and the dice taketh away.
Like that.
Yes, that is clear.
Okay. And then he's going to reveal a one straight.
And not
which
move.
Also shouldn't clear.
Correct.
And then he's just there.
I think the striker's in favor of that.
Yeah, I think so. Ooh. I don't know if the Rebel's going to get a shot at this striker.
No, I think the bump was
That was
a
clever.
very canny move.
This is going to be close. Does he?
He
does
doesn't bump. He gets a shot.
If he gets a shot, that's focused range 1. This could be.
Yeah.
This could be it.
That's what he needs.
That's what he needs, and he needs to not blow up
And he's trying to K-turn the other guy, too.
because Whisper's coming in. Is he barrel rolling? What's he doing?
No, he's K-turning the other Z.
Oh, got it.
Insurance.
That's smart.
They're out. All right.
I still think the Rebel players got the best chance of winning this, but man, that last round
Just by a
changed
hair,
things. That last round really changed things.
Because if he kills a striker, I think he survives even if he loses a Z to Whisper.
Focus.
Whisper needs to Whisper needs to shoot the one that's going to shoot the striker.
Yeah.
35 is at 3, they're full.
Okay, we'll shoot at 35.
It's going to be a tough.
No, he's going to go for the one he can get half points on easier. I mean, there's definitely value in that,
Oh,
but
I don't think
not
it's
with that.
I don't think it's going to have 2 good
Not
rounds in a
with
row.
that.
No, I think the Rebels have got this one. That was the last real chance he had. The last real chance he had.
Yeah, Sloan reroll because it is stressed.
Hey, that was a kind move. I always really respect that when you have this high level of play and
Sure.
you still have the class to remind your
There's
opponent.
also, like, the nice thing for Blair is after seeing that initial roll, he knows he can't lose a ship now.
Yeah,
He's got this in the bag.
but he still had the
Yeah.
he still had
Certainly.
the courtesy to
That's the
throw
dead
that
striker.
reminder out there. Yeah, so the Rebels I think justifiably will pull this one off, but that was really close.
Yeah.
That last round almost changed the game.
That just about flipped things around. Just out, so Blair not going to get
No.
points
Good,
there.
good game. Wow, that was a real nail biter. What a photo finish. You know, and I think it was that one turn that Whisper got
I think so.
in the line of fire.
And
Otherwise,
to be
I think
honest,
he had
Whisper
it.
was lucky to even make it out of there.
Oh yeah.
And that was such a swing
Yep.
in Blair's favor.
Well,
That
it just goes to show you make one mistake at this level of play, and you don't really have a lot of chance to come back from that, assuming your opponent makes no mistakes.
yes.
Which I think Blair played a very tight, very good game.
Yeah, I had really nothing to complain about from the Rebel squad's maneuvering there.
62, yeah. 31, he has 31 left.
Like we said, Martin Chivers is going to be on next, and then whoever is playing with him.
Yes.
I killed 167. So he killed 167. Okay. And then 52
But yeah, that
plus
was
13,
you can really see as we continue on. You know, we're taking these players who are undefeated, so they are the ones winning,
Yep.
and you can just see the gameplay tighten up from game to game here as we go with these guys. Yeah, one mistake that really kind of put the bow on it for Blair, but still nail biter up to the end.
Yeah, Christopher had a chance even despite that one unfortunate move with Whisper.
Yeah.
Every other, thing that he did was really, really well done.
Yep, on point.
Great approach, on point. Just goes to show you've got to basically play a perfect game when you're at a tournament like this, because every single person here is here by invite.
Yes.
Every player at this
This is
tournament
not
is the best of the
A
best.
tournament where you can just sign up and get lucky and get in.
No.
You had to win or place well at
So the
at
caliber of
competitive
play,
events.
the caliber of play is unheard of. And the really fascinating thing is this is, one of the very first big 2.0 tournaments.
Yes.
The first biggest 2.0 tournament
Yeah.
in the world, and that's super exciting because a lot of these players are 1.0 veterans.
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
see, clearly it's a skill set that's transferable.
Absolutely.
The game hasn't changed that much. But the really fascinating thing about this is it's a wide open meta for the first time.
Sure.
You have to go up against lists that you are not prepared for. You don't have years worth of metadata and tournament experience and that kind of thing to go on.
Absolutely.
So it's the Wild West right now, and I couldn't be
and
happier about
and
it.
we're seeing the
Yeah.
effects of that. and it's
I mean,
pretty awesome.
this I didn't expect a 6 Z95 crack shot Leia list, but it's awesome, and you can see why it's doing so well.
Looks like we will be back. We have 2 more rounds tonight, round 5 and 6.
Yep.
Round 5:30 with Martin and whoever is lucky enough to be paired with him. So everybody go take a little break and be back here at 5:30 Central Time, and we'll be back.
Stay tuned, everybody.